Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Mr. Zombie here, and welcome to part 10 of What If Izuku Midoriya Was a Stand User. Don't worry, listeners, Kara Zor-el will return for episodes 11, 12, and onwards. I'm just temporarily filling in for her until then. So for the time being, sit back and relax, cause the newest episode begins now. Midoriya, Uraraka, and Ida were walking together to the cafeteria for their lunch break. They just got out of yet another hero training class with their substitute teacher Midnight, and all Izuku could think about was how much he was craving one of Lunch Rush's pork cutlet bowls. But the delicious thought of the pro hero's cuisine was shoved to the side, as Midoriya and his friends heard the familiar sound of the number one hero's signature laugh. There you are! Midori, yeah! And Ida, Uraraka, we are here, together in the hallway! Midoriya and his friends were surprised to see the number one pro and asked why he was there. I'm on a lunch break! Wanna eat with me, Midoriya? There was no way Izuku could pass up an invitation to have lunch with the greatest pro hero in all of Japan, and accepted the invitation. After the Green Knight gathered his meal, he joined the pro hero in the staff room, leaving Ochako and Tenya to find a table and discuss in private what All Might could want with Izuku. Inside the staff room, Midoriya found the now deflated All Might, brewing some tea as he told Midoriya to sit. Izuku thanked the number one hero for inviting him to lunch and asked what the occasion was for. Honestly, it's because there's been something on my mind I've been wanting to talk to you about for a while now, and after what happened recently with the USJ, I needed someone to talk to, so I figured I'd finally speak to you about what I've been thinking about. Before All Might could speak further, Izuku asked the pro how he was doing. He remembered how All Might was at the end of the attack when the Warp Gate villain duped him into accidentally sending Bakugo to the hospital. Midoriya could tell by the look on All Might's face that he was still bothered by how that conflict ended. I lost my cool back there, Midoriya. All Might spoke. I was supposed to be in that building when the villains arrived, but I used up most of my time in my hero form fighting a few petty crimes earlier that day. I should have just let the other pros in the area deal with it, but I couldn't help myself. So when I entered that building and I saw villains all over the place trying to kill you and the others, heck, when I saw part of Asui's face disintegrated, in my mind, I felt like it was all my fault, and after what that gas villain made me do to Bakugo, I almost lost it. Midoriya could tell that the pro was feeling guilt on his shoulders. Look, I appreciate your concern about what happened, but I'll be alright. We heard from the hospital that Bakugo should be released soon. I just hope the kid doesn't have any harsh feelings toward me for what happened. I mean, I heard Principal Nezu had a very heated meeting the other day with Bakugo's parents, mostly with his firecracker of a mother, and well, the schools agreed to completely cover Katsuki's medical bills. It's the least we could do. Anyway, I was hoping to talk to you after the hero combat training from a week ago, but I had a class to teach and other priorities, so I never got around to telling you this, but to be honest, kid, I absolutely misjudged you. Midoriya was confused as to what the man was talking about. Do you remember when we met up after the sludge villain attack in that alleyway? It was when I gave you advice on how to get into this school. Do you remember that? The teen couldn't think of a reason why he wouldn't. He was face to face with his all-time favorite hero. It was even when he tried to show All Might his stand, or rather he tried to. Well, everything I'm going to tell you from now until you leave this room stays in this room. Understand? The truth is, Midoriya, the reason I wanted to speak to you that day was because I wanted to pass on my quirk to you. The man's words stopped Midoriya from taking the first bite of his lunch. Wait, what? Your quirk? You wanted to give me your power? The man nodded at the boy's question. You're actually serious? Holy whoa, I'm sorry, I just have a hard time believing that. I mean, one of the biggest mysteries in the superhero world is what your quirk is. I mean, people online are constantly discussing it. I mean, it's a popular theory from journalists that it's super strength, super speed, or a combination of the two. But the idea of just giving a quirk to someone like the keys to a car just doesn't make sense to me. I always thought quirks were something unique that were tailored to a person's biology and mutter. All right, enough! Sheesh. Look, I know you got your beliefs on how quirks work, but I assure you there's more to my power than what you've seen on the surface. So like I said, what I'm about to tell you stays between us, okay? Midoriya nodded to the man's request. Good. I'll try to be as brief as possible, so listen well. For the next 3 minutes, All Might told Midoriya about his quirk One for All, going into detail about how it's a stockpiling quirk that can be passed on from one person to another, improving the overall power output of the quirk. He also told Midoriya that after the injury he showed him on the rooftop, he's been looking for a new person to take the mantle of One for All. He was originally going to give it to Midoriya after what he saw him do during the Sludge Villain attack, but he changed his mind. Okay, wait, hold on. Why are you telling me all this? I mean, you haven't even given me your power, and you're telling me a major secret about your quirk that could be detrimental to Hero Society if the truth got out? Why? Well, you haven't told anyone the truth about my true form since there's nothing in the news about it. But aside from that, I felt like I owed it to you if you knew the truth. Like I said, I was going to make you the next symbol of peace, but I misjudged your capabilities of being a hero and denied you the chance. I hope you can forgive me for that. I mean, when you first told me about this power you have, this ability where you can summon an invisible creature that could fight by your side, honestly, and don't take this personally, but I thought you were just some quirkless whack job that made up your power as a coping mechanism after I told you that quirkless people can't be pros. Wait, what? He thought I was just some kid that lost my marbles? Izuku thought in his head. Seriously? I mean, no one would have known now about my quirk. I understand why he didn't believe me at the time, but he thought I was crazy? After watching you fight off Aoyama and Bakugo all by yourself during your hero training and saving my skin the other day from that Nomu, I can tell you will do amazing things one day and have the potential to go far as a hero, even without One for All by your side. The Greenette smirked at the pro hero's words of encouragement and told him that there was nothing personal about his actions, even though he was a bit offended that he thought he was crazy, but he let it slide after a while. There was just one more question on the boy's mind. So wait, if you were going to pass One for All on to me, can you still do it now? Or is it too late for that to happen? I'm afraid that ship has sailed off, Midoriya. About 3 months ago, I found a successor and transferred One for All to him. He's a third-year student here at UA with the mind, power, and quirk that would make for a great symbol of peace for the next generation. Maybe you'll meet him someday. Midoriya nodded at the man's words as he began taking bites out of his cutlet bowl. The student and pro hero exchanged further small talk before Izuku thanked Toshinori for lunch and headed back to his homeroom, all while All Might watched the kid from the staff room door. So, personal Jesus, eh? Thinking about it now, I guess the name's not that bad. I should keep an eye on that kid. I'm interested to see what that power of his can do during the festival coming up, and how far he'll go with it. Three days later, it was just another casual day at UA High. The students were getting ready for their English lesson with President Mike when they were surprised by a returning face that came through 1A's front door. This being Katsuki Bakugo, who was released from the hospital the night before. Whoa, hey, Bakugo, you're back! Kirishima said as the whole class welcomed back the explosive blonde. Everyone was incredibly happy to see that Katsuki was okay. Even Midoriya, despite the history of bad blood between one another. How are you feeling, man? We missed you. I'm fine. Well, it's good to see you again, Baka bro. Not gonna lie, we were pretty worried about you. Oh, please. There was nothing to be worried about. It'll take more than a few messed up ribs to keep me down. What? Dude, it was a lot more than a couple of messed up ribs, man. I mean, your liver and lungs were messed up, along with your diaphragm. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but all that sounded pretty serious, man. Yeah, it was pretty serious. But it doesn't matter now. What matters is that I make up for all the training time I lost this past week, and show the world during the festival coming up that I'm the world's next best hero. After class, the students of 1A could hear what sounded like a group of people gathering just outside the homeroom. Uraraka opened the door, only to find a huge wave of students from various classes gathering just outside the door.
Whoa, alright, this is weird.
Ochako said in reaction to her sight. Excuse me, do you students have somewhere to be or some sort of business with our class? Ida asks as he approached the group outside the doorway. If not, I must ask that you be on your way. It's a fire hazard to have so many students packed this close to the doorway. Jesus Christ, you are such a teacher's pet. Bakugo muttered as he walked up to the sea of students. They're here to scout out the competition. We're the class that survived a real villain attack, remember? They just want to see what we're made of. Bakugo walked up to the group outside and told them to move out of the way, calling them extras in the process, much to the dismay of Midoriya and a few of the other students. Several of the students did end up moving, but not for Bakugo. Instead, it was for a menacing-looking boy with a big poof of purple hair that made his way through the sea of students to come face to face with the explosion quirk wielder. Extras? Is that the kind of thing a heroine trading would call his fellow UA students? And here I thought you Class A types were the model students that people like me hope to be. But you guys just seem like a bunch of delusional egomaniacs. The boy's words caught the attention of Bakugo as he stopped and gazed at the purple-eyed student. You must be Katsuki Bakugo. I heard that you're one of the best students in the hero course. I also heard that you took a pretty hard hit recently, one that almost killed you. The boy's words ticked off Bakugo as he angrily asked who he was. Hitoshi Shinso from General Studies. Look, I'm not here to mock you or your injury. I just want to let you know that despite your near-fatal accident, I fully intend on beating you and every one of your classmates during the festival coming up. I tried to get into the hero course earlier this year, but like several others in my class, life decided to throw me on a different path. But I have a chance to make up for that. I heard from my teacher that if we General Studies students do exceptionally well in the festival, we have a chance to transfer into the hero course. And if that happens, the teachers will have to move someone out to make room. So consider this a declaration of war. If you hero course students don't bring your A game, I'll take your spot right from under you. The other students felt a chill go up their spine with the boy's words, all while Bakugo stood there with a determined look. But that wasn't all for the declarations of war. A loud boy with sharp teeth from Class B also called out those in 1A. According to him, one of the students in his class, Nato Monoma, claims that the students in Class 1A think that they are better than those in 1B. In response, the metalhead told Midoriya's classmates to prepare themselves as everyone in Class B was coming for them. Bakugo just walked off as Tetsu continued taunting the boy from the crowd. Izuku wondered how well and able Bakugo was going to be for the sports festival. But not just him, he thought about how the others in his class would fare as well. Along with himself. Class B and the other students in school had their eyes on 1A, which means the stakes got even higher for what would be Izuku's biggest challenge yet. After a week of training and preparation for UA students, fireworks erupted over the school, signaling the start of the UA Sports Festival. The festival was filled with the smells of takoyaki and people of various walks of life, buying masks and getting photos of all their favorite pro heroes, who were brought in to act as security guards for the event due to the recent USJ attack. Inside the building, the students of 1A were getting into their uniforms and waited to be called into the arena. Within minutes, the class rep came into the waiting room and told the others that it was time to head out. Several students got out of their seats and headed for the door, while others needed more time to fight out their anxieties. So, how you guys feeling about this thing? Kaminari nervously asked the other guy sitting at his table. There's gonna be a lot of eyes on us today. You guys worried? Heh, I'm not worried. If there's going to be a load of people watching us, then that just makes me want to win this thing even more. Yeah, I hear you, man, Kirishima said to Bakugo. He then faced the heterochromatic boy sitting right next to him as he asked the same question. Yo, Todoroki, how you feeling about this? You ready? Todoroki's dual-colored eyes looked at Kirishima with a dirty look as he uttered, "Why do you care?" in a rude tone. The student's response caught the attention of those at the table the boys were sitting at. Huh? Why do I care? I don't know, there's a lot of people that'll be checking us out and a lot on the line here. I just want to make sure my classmates are ready for this, that's all. Well, you shouldn't care how I feel, Todoroki said as he got up. The others in the room took note of the brewing conflict. I'm here to aim for the top and beat anyone that comes in my way. That includes you and the others in this room. We're not here to be friends. We're here to win. Kirishima could tell Todoroki wasn't in a good mood and didn't want to further push the situation.
Oh, alright, chill, man. Look, I get it. You're super focused on this festival and I'm messing up your concentration. I'm sorry to bother you, alright?
Todoroki squinted his eyes and left the room without saying a word. Mina asked the red-haired teen if he was alright, to which he responded that he was, and chose to not take what he said to him personally. Izuku, who listened to the argument, wondered what was going on with Todoroki to make him act in that way. Despite Izuku rarely having any interactions with Todoroki, he always took him as a respectable, reserved kid. So to see him act like that to someone as nice as Kirishima was a surprise. The Green Net theorized something had to be going on with Todoroki behind the scenes, and made a mental note to ask him about it later. After several minutes, President Mike's face came up on the Jumbotron to get the crowd pumped up.
Hey, what is up, everybody? It's your favorite radio DJ, President Mike here, and we're about ready to start this festival. Let me hear some noise!
After the crowd got hyped up, the DJ hero announced a surprise second voice that would be joining him for the commentary of the festival. This surprise voice being the teacher of Hero Course 1B, Vlad King.
Hey, Vlad! How it do, my man?
President Mike said as Vlad came into the commentary booth.
Aizawa was A-okay by the school to check out the games in person. So I asked him to do this commentating gig with me and let the world know he's doing good. But he said no for whatever reason. Hope you're cool doing this with me.
Of course I am!
Vlad proudly answered as he sat in his chair and put his headset on.
Aizawa's been through enough these past 2 weeks. The guy deserves a break. Besides, I would love nothing more than to give my class the commentary they need to dominate the festival. Ha ha ha! Alrighty then. In that case, let's get this party started!
President Mike officially announced the start of the UA Sports Festival and began introducing the separate classes that would participate in the games. First, it was the Hero Course students from classes A and B, followed by those from General Studies, the Support Course, and the Business students. As soon as everyone gathered towards center stage, the men and a handful of women in the crowd became blushed with attraction, as the chief umpire for the first years was revealed to be the R-rated hero Midnight, who was ready to get the day's event started. First that voluptuous goddess was our substitute teacher, and now she's the umpire for the games? These last 2 weeks feel like they've been made in heaven!
Silence, everyone! Midnight shouted from the mic. It's time to begin the day's events, starting with the student pledge, led by Class A's Katsuge Bakugo.
Most of 1A was shocked knowing that Bakugo would be reciting the student pledge. They thought it would have been Yayarozu or Ida, but Zero did clarify that he came in first during the entrance exam, so in a way, it makes sense that it would be him. However, in the back of the minds of Izuku's class, they were nervous about what Katsuki would say. Knowing him, he would likely say something that would paint a big target on the backs of the entirety of Class A. And, well,
I just want to say that I'm gonna win.
Those 7 words caused a wave of boos to rip across the arena walls. If the other students didn't think of Class A as the enemy before, they definitely did now. Ida ran up to the podium and questioned the teen why he'd react in such an uncivilized manner.
I'm just stating the obvious, Four Eyes. Don't take your inevitable loss as bad as all the others will.
Bakugo pestered as he walked back to his class, who all displayed visible signs of discontent from Kachan's actions.
Alright, that's enough, everyone!
Midnight yelled. Within a few seconds, the ticked-off first years piped down for the R18 hero.
Okay, Thank you, Bakugo, for that unnecessary statement. Let's just get started with the first game of the festival.
A projection appeared from behind the female umpire, presenting that the first day's event would be, you guessed it, an obstacle course. The students had to line up at the start of the gate near the west side of the arena and fight their way through the many obstacles around the arena's outer walls. The pro hero told the students to take their places as the race would begin in about 2 minutes. The students all grouped up near the starting line and readied themselves for the event to start. The lights on the gate began to dim out one by one before a loud air horn blared and Midnight signaled the students to begin.
And here we go! The first event of the day is officially underway!
Hey Vlad, how about some commentary for our determined students? Vlad said it was too early to call who would get the edge in the first part of the race, but secretly held biased hope for his class to get the edge. So, what kind of danger do you think our students should be on the lookout for in the first part of this race? The doorway. The students became jam-packed together in the hallway, shoving and moving each other to get through. It looked like the entrance to a Walmart during Black Friday. Is this some kind of test as part of the obstacle course? Come on, I gotta push through! Midoriya tried squeezing and pushing his way through the crowd. As he was shoved towards the side of the hallway, he felt something tap on his shoulder and laugh at him. He turned and saw what looked like a pair of eyes and a large devilish grin staring at him from inside the wall.
You must be one of those Class A kids that thinks you're better than the rest of us, huh?
The face said to the boy.
Well, we Class B students are a bit more resourceful at getting out of sticky situations like this than you Class A types. Catch you later.
The creepy dark smile moved along the walls towards the exit point as he cackled at the sea of students that were struggling to get out.
This was easier than I thought. The darkness shall carry me to an early head start. Huh?
The dark quirk wielder noticed that his shadowy path was blocked by what looked like a sheet of ice that encased the entire doorway. Todoroki, in a dirty move, caked the entire exit in a sheet of ice, trapping 60% of the competition as they struggled to fight their way out. However, Todoroki discovered that his early strategy wouldn't be as effective as he thought, as 14 students from his class plus 20 others were able to dodge the ice, including Midoriya. "I'm coming for you, you half and half bastard!" Bakugo yelled as he used his explosion quirk to fly through the sky. Kacchan and several others were hot on Todoroki's tail, including Mineta, who used his pop-off quirk to hop along the icy path he made, setting up a few sticky traps for those on the ground in the process. "You're not gonna take me out of the race that easily, Todoroki!" Mineta made another sticky ball from his head and prepared it to throw it at the icy hot team. But from out of nowhere, he was knocked into the wall by what seemed to be a bunch of robots from the entrance exams, including at least 3 of the gargantuan zero-pointers that made our main protagonist almost pee his pants. The sight of the massive automatrons made everyone freeze in place, realizing that they had one heck of a fight to go through. But most of the students weren't as scared as others. So these are the robots the other students had to go through for the entrance exams, Todoroki said as he began charging up his ice quirk. The teacher should have prepared something a little more difficult, especially since my father's watching. With a wave of his arm, he threw a massive blast of ice at one of the zero-pointers, freezing it in place along with a few of the smaller robots in front of it. Shoto ran through the opening he made underneath the robot, prompting a couple of the students to follow him as he cleared the way for him, but he told the others not to do that as he froze the robots in certain places on purpose. Seconds later, the zero-pointer came crashing into the ground, as the other competitors were lost in a large cloud of dust. What a performance by Class A Shoto Todoroki! He's now in the lead and literally leaving the others in the dust! How will this race end, folks? It's too early to call, but I got a feeling there are more surprises ahead for our participants. So stay tuned, everyone! This race is gonna get crazy! Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you enjoyed. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that We the Celestials has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video, so goodbye and have a divine day.